Because of the TLC update in 2020, we can no longer pick players off of Stegos while they're tanking. So stay tuned to see how to counter this. As most of you most likely know already, because of the recent update, Stegos can now not be picked, and I have Devon with me, a new player from my Alphaborn cluster, testing a few things, seeing if a bear trap would help, and just seeing if there's any way to do it, and at the moment there's none that we can find. So stay tuned and let's see what we can do instead. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the official channel for Alphaborn. So today we're going to be talking about raiding dinos and how to defend against them. So stay. So today we're actually going to be talking about base defense against the golem, and on top of that, base defense against the turtle, and then base defense against the stego after the recent update or TLC, because now of course we know we can't pick players off stegos, so that of course limits on what we can do. However, I have got some suggestions for you and I have got some ideas for you, and I'm going to show you how they work in today's video. So to start off with, I've got 5 different type of dinos. These are all good in their own way, and I'm going to show you where they're good, what they're good at, how they're good at it, and why. And I've also put down a rocket turret. The rocket turret is something that I do recommend you craft as soon as you're available to. Don't necessarily place it down, but having it ready as base defense is always going to be helpful. So let's start off with the golem. Now first things first, wyverns don't actually hurt golems. Their element itself doesn't do a whole lot. However, when it comes to say a poison wyvern, you can quite easily use their poison when you can actually hit your target to kill the rider off. So if someone's actually sat on the golem riding it, you can actually spam the golem quite a bit while you're under protection of your turrets to get the rider off. So as you can see, that's not doing any damage to the golem itself, but if a person riding it has low fortitude, that will knock them unconscious quite easily. Okay, so the first actual tip of base defense towards a golem, I'm actually going to say, is a velo. Now velos completely annihilate golems and from a distance. So as you can see here, I'm only doing 80 damage per hit, but as you see at the speed of the hits, I can actually get quite a lot of damage done in a very quick time. So if you have 3, 4, 5, 6 velos on aggressive, they can actually get rid of most golems quite quickly. Can I just mention as well, we're actually back on official settings. So all the dinos you see in today's video are max tamed, but all primitive saddles and no imprint bonus whatsoever. So if you have an imprinted dino compared to today's video, you will or you should be doing better than what I'm showing today. Next in base defense against the golem, of course if you are more end game, you should have or will have a giga. I assume you're going to have a bred giga, but nonetheless this is a tamed giga. So giga is the second thing, or second best defense against golems. So as you can see there, we're doing 1300, nearly 1400 damage per bite. Okay, so gigas can obviously break stone, which is why they're so effective against golems. Now the third one for the golems, like I said, is actually this, the rocket turret. Now it does the same amount of damage as a normal rocket launcher, but with this one it shoots much faster and there's no real reload timer, as long as you have rockets in its inventory. So as you can see, I did 200 and 920. Now if I actually just lay into it a bit, as you can see, I'm getting quite a lot of damage done. So I personally choose this turret over an actual rocket launcher when it comes to base defense. When you're just using a standard rocket launcher, it's quite a slow thing to shoot, and the person riding the golem can quite easily dodge. So you see they're exactly the same, and look at my reload time. So I have to keep moving, try not to be sniped, try not to get picked if I'm out of my own turret range. So based upon that, the rocket launcher turret is far more beneficial and efficient against golems. So to sum up very quickly, first tip is a velo. You've got to have some velos. Second is a giga, but if you don't have a giga, then like I said, rocket turrets are definitely the best way to go. Second on the list, the turtle. Now, same again, poison wyverns. They are actually very effective, especially if one of these has just been whistled on aggressive or whistled to attack target. You know, they might have a C4 on them or anything. If there's a rider on it, of course you can snipe the rider off. I can't even hit this turtle right now. There we go. So as you can see, one ball does basically 900 damage, or just under 1,000 damage per hit. And all I have now is quite a high amount of melee. So I've got 27k HP, I've got 1200 stamina, and I've got just under 900 melee damage, which I know, you know, is quite high. But that's because this is basically a defense wyvern. I've made this one specifically for doing damage in defense. So if you have a wyvern with anything near 900 melee, this is the kind of thing you should be looking at against turtles. And just to show you again, so this one does 894 damage. Let's get our giga back out. The giga itself on a bite does 1,400. But again, with the giga, of course, you've got to be up close and personal. If the turtle is not in your turret range and you're trying to stop him from getting into your turret range, the giga obviously is available to be picked. Velos are not actually very good, and rockets aren't really that good against turtles because obviously they're designed for tanking. So I'll show you what the rocket does. Only 500 damage, okay? And again, the velo, like I said, from this distance it was 17. As I move forward, I'm now getting 89. So I mean, 89 on a turtle's not too bad, but at the same time, you know, it's not amazing. You want to do something a bit quicker. Now here's the funny thing. Did you know an unforgiving spit actually does pretty good damage to a turtle? Nothing major, it's not going to be like a giga, but it's enough if you haven't got the giga or if you haven't got other dinos to do it. There we go. So each spit is 300 damage. So again, if there's a rider on top and I haven't got a sniper, I can shoot them off. But at the same time, if I haven't got anything, I can use the plethora. The spit is more efficient than the bite, as I'll demonstrate now. So if I bite, I only get 184. Again, that's not the worst, but most turtles are going to have 30k plus HP. So you're going to want to do some damage quickly. I've nearly killed that. So again, like I said, against turtles, the poison wyvern is the best. Gigas obviously do the most damage per bite. Rockets, they're okay, they do about 500 damage. But now this one is kind of my ace in the hole. For those of you who didn't know, a mantis is really good at collecting metal and stone and flint if you give him good picks. He's really good at knocking players out if you give him clubs, and he's really good at a melee attack if you give him swords. Now these are just primitive swords, okay? So remember, the giga did 1400 damage. The wyvern, I believe, was about 900. Yeah, so just under 900 damage. The mantis, like I said, ace in the hole. It's nice and quick. You can left trigger. Look at that. Now this is all just left triggering. I'm doing the same amount of damage as I did on a Giga, but a lot quicker. And these were primitive swords. Okay, let's have a look at the stats. So as you can see, we have 1000 melee. Now I did put, I think, 90% of the levels into this. But how much faster was that? Now, a mantis can't really do anything to a golem, of course. Next to nothing, isn't it? Really? Okay. And then, like I said, these are primitive swords. So if you actually had a good sword against turtles, 100% get the mantis out. And on Xbox, and I assume PlayStation, left trigger, because you can do the swing. And as you can see, that's quite a fast attack. But just then, as you saw, I was doing the left trigger, constantly pushing into it. I was basically doing the same amount of damage as a Giga does, but faster. Okay, so remember that. Mantis with the swords. And last but not least, the brand new Stego. The pain in the bum to defend against now. Now, it's not impossible. So again, if you have a wyvern, you can of course pick it up and you can take it away. Or pick it up and drop it into your turrets. Apart from that, obviously you still have the left trigger, which as you can see is only doing about 500 damage, or just under 500 damage at a time. Again, I imagine that will knock out a player if there's a player riding it, but apart from that, we now know for some reason we can't pick players off with the Stegos anymore. So what was that doing again? How much damage was that doing? 500? Yeah, so 447. Okay. And again, let's look at the Giga. So you've got 447 to beat. In comes the Giga. Well, first one was nearly 700. Now after that it's at 430. And this is a primitive saddle, like I said, with a tamed Giga. Okay. So primitive Stego, tamed Giga. And that was doing 430. Same again, the Velo. Not amazing, but not terrible. So that's doing 28 per hit, but as you can see, it's a lot of rapid hits. If I get closer, I can do 40. So the legs are definitely the weak point for the Stego when it comes to a Velo. Again, the plethora is quite good. It's not amazing, but you know, you can definitely get things done. With a turtle, the spit was the best tool. Again, the spit is still pretty good. Again, it's not amazing, but again, if you haven't got any of these dinos or you haven't got a Giga, this is at least something. And again, if the rider's on there, I haven't tested this one yet, but I'm assuming you'll still be able to spit or break the armor from the spit. Okay, but yeah, as you can see, 142 was spit. Biting against not as strong. So as of like a defending dino, the plethora against Stegos, I wouldn't recommend it. Rockets can be pretty good, especially if there's a rider. You can shoot the rider off. Let's go have a quick look at that. And then once again, I will show you the ace in the hole with the mantis. So Stego, 276 damage. Okay. Well, if you remember, the poison wyvern was touching 900, I believe, was it? I'll double check that quickly. I want to make sure you guys see everything. Okay, so 447. Okay. So now let's have a look at the mantis again. Primitive saddle, primitive swords against the Stego. Let's left trigger. $567. If I do right trigger. I should probably mention as well, the Stego is on its third setting where it's supposed to take about 50% less damage now since the update. But yeah, 567. Let's compare that to the Giga. One was basically 700, the others are 436. So in some cases, the mantis is actually hitting the Stego harder than a max tamed Giga. So there we have it, guys. Okay, so to sum up, against golems, if you don't have a Giga, or if you're not at the stage of having a Giga yet, easily get a Velo or get a couple of Velos. If not, Rocket Turret. Rocket Turret is going to be your best friend when you see a Golem. Number 2 is the Turtle, and of course again it was the Poison Wyvern, which was quite effective or quite helpful against that. And then the Mantis did the most damage, and then the Giga and also an Arthroplorus Spit is also quite good against Turtle, but not amazing. And then against the Stego, as you saw, Gigas are good, Poison Wyvern is good, but Mantis can do a lot more damage at a lot faster speed. That's the main thing. You can do a 10 million bite once a minute, or you can do a 1 million bite and fit in 10 bites in a minute. So it all comes down to speed, okay? So guys, I hope you all found this helpful. Ask any questions you need to. I mean, like I said, with the Stegos, it's after the TLC. We're still learning all about this. Myself and Devon tried earlier about picking to check it. Another thing as well is I still recommend using bear traps, just because if there is a rider on the Stego or on the Turtle, if they get trapped in a bear trap and they're on their own, they have two options. They either sit there stuck, or they dismount to come and take it off. Now if they sit there stuck, your Wyvern can still pick up the dino, or you can snipe them off, or you can poison ball them off. Either way, they're trapped, so they are literally a mouse in a trap. If they choose to dismount, then all you've got to do is kill the rider, and then you can do whatever you need to against the dino itself. Okay, so that's an extra sort of bonus tip for this video, is bear traps. No matter what stage you're at, as long as you're able to craft the rocket turret and bear traps and have some rockets stored away ready, then you should be able to build quite a good defense, even if you wasn't expecting to be attacked. So until next time, I will catch you on Alpha Born.